Hello there, you absolute legends. Emma McElhinney here with Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. I am here to ruin your misconceptions about perimenopause, fat loss, and kick midlife in the face. So if you think your 40s are a drag, think again. Because every week I am going to be stripping down the myths about perimenopause. I'm serving you raw, unfiltered truths about your health and smashing misconceptions about fat loss. And a whole lot more. So if you thought you knew midlife, you don't know the half of it. Aging is inevitable, but getting old is a choice. So buckle up, grab a glass of something yummy, and let's get to it. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the musings of a bullshit queenager. And today we have two bullshit queenagers for your listening ears. I am joined today by the very lovely, and if you're catching this on YouTube, you'll also see very beautiful Gemma Gilmour, who is a next level identity and transformation coach. So we're going to be talking all about mindset, and I'm like, try not to use mindset, the word, a lot, but that'll transpire as to why I'm not using it a lot. But before we go into the nitty gritty, Gemma, I'm going to take like a couple of minutes and just introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you do, and that will actually probably take up the full half hour. So I might interject with some questions as we go.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Emma, and thank you for inviting me on the podcast. I'm so happy to be here. I actually do have quite nice hair because I was just at the hairdresser's yesterday.
And I don't. As you can, if you're on the YouTube, you'll see that my hair is not lovely. It's a disaster, but
It feels very refreshing to have my hair done. So yeah, I'm Gemma, and I'm from Edinburgh. I'm a mum of three. I'm an entrepreneur, and I am a next level identity and transformation coach. My background is actually in science. I was a behavior analyst for 15 years, so very much steeped in the analysis of human behavior. And I worked with the autistic population, with little kids with autism, for 15 years, and delved into the online industry to try and scale an online business in that business to help parents with autistic children. When I had my kids, because I wanted more freedom, more time. I wanted to make more money, work less hours, be more present for my family. And then had my eyes open to the world of online marketing and business building, and a bit of a reality check. And it was hard. It was really hard work. And I just very much clung on to that belief of got to work hard to succeed, and worked myself into the ground, totally burnt out, totally exhausted. And finally somebody had suggested you should see a mindset coach, and I was like, what the hell is one of those? I've never heard of that. I just hemorrhage money at business coaches. That's my pattern. That's my nice escape behavior. Anyway, I took on their advice and I hired a girl, and it was incredible. It did genuinely change my life. And now I in that process, even working with her, I was like, I want to do what you're doing, because this is totally inspirational and life-changing stuff. And with my background in behavior analysis and psychology, it just made sense for me to go down this route. My background and training was very much on analyzing observable behaviors that you could see and therefore measure, whereas all of this work that she was doing with me was the inner stuff that you couldn't see. And that just blew my mind in terms of how she could pinpoint limiting beliefs and distorted thinking patterns and bring that back to how I could see it in my life and how it was coming out in terms of my responses. And now here I am. I'm retrained, and I'm coaching mainly entrepreneurs who basically are experiencing what I used to experience, really stuck in that hustle energy, or procrastinating and just like eating some chocolate cake and watching TV. So yeah, very much want to help impact-driven women build their businesses and create what they love.
Maybe we've talked about this before. Like, I'm probably your ideal client with the fear of, well, that's too scary because it's not business coaching and it's not measurable. But you should read my email tomorrow, because it's actually all about eating donuts. So that ties in quite nicely.
Well, we all have it. This is the thing. We all have these self-sabotaging behaviors. Like, it's not like you're broken and you're the only one in the world. No, we all have them.
But these are particularly exceptional donuts, but it's not the time. It's not the time or the place to talk about these donuts. But anyway, right. So We had a quick chat about mindset, right? And it's probably the biggest area that I work with clients on is how they think and what they think about what they're doing to their body, either through food or through exercise or the limiting beliefs and all the rest of it. But I want to hear, like, people don't know that about like, people just think, here's the food that you need and here's the exercise that you need, but it's actually not, right? But from your point of view, how do you explain mindset to people?
Okay, so yeah, good question. So I think like what we were saying is like it's kind of one of these phrases that's been a bit diluted maybe over the years because it got really trendy, but now it's all about human design, and now that's the latest trend.
Oh, do you do human design?
No, no, I don't.
I did have a reading. I can't remember what I am, but it made a lot of sense, and I've never done anything with it after that.
Yeah, it seems to be peaks and troughs with these types of things, but mindset to me is like genuinely as a behavior analyst, I was so super skeptical. I was like, that's going to be too woo for me, too fluffy and airy fairy, and I don't want anything to do with it. But the nuts and bolts of mindset is self-regulation. That's it. It's being able to manage your thoughts and feel your feelings. That's it. And the thing is, none of us are taught how to do that in school. We're taught how to read and write and to maybe share our toys and play nicely in the playground, but we're not actually taught how to use our brains at all in terms of thinking intentionally thoughts that are going to serve us and learning how to feel all the crap that's inevitably going to come up, because I believe life is 50-50. It's not rainbows and unicorns every day. You're not going to be feeling lit up and inspired all the time. And we have to be able to be okay with that when we feel shame and anger. And this is the crux of my job, is because none of us are taught how to deal with those uncomfortable emotions. What do? Squash them down, suppress them, taboo them, and just escape them by working really hard or getting on that hamster wheel and getting through our to-do list, or like I said, going to the gym or overeating or over exercise, whatever it is. We're all Houdinis, like absolute like escape artists, because we are not okay with feeling our feelings. That's my job.
Oh my God, that makes perfect sense. Absolute perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. It is. And that, I mean, that was just something that popped into my head there that we didn't discuss beforehand. Like, we were talking about mental health before we hit the record button. Like, do you see like this escapism that we do you see that as a direct connection to the massive increases in mental health diagnoses? Like, they reckon that depression is actually because we've not dealt with anger over the years.
Of course. Yeah.
It's
an end result of suppressed layers and layers and layers of suppressed emotions. And the crazy thing is that if we could just remember, like literally just remind our brains in the moment, this is just an emotion. This is just energy in motion that actually wants to move through my body. The problem is we immediately attach meaning to it and believe it to be true. So if you have a bit of fear, a bit of self-doubt, a bit of feeling of I'm not good enough, and then your brain's going to want to search for evidence to back up that feeling, and you have all the thoughts coming in at you going, yeah, remember that time you didn't do very well in that test, or remember that time that person didn't buy your offer, and remember that time, then it's all confirming. And so you have a thought and a feeling that matches. So you're like, oh my God, it must be true. I'm a really bad person, or I'm not good enough. And so we believe it. And this is the thing, like, we have to be on it ourselves so that we can step back and out of it and just literally interrogate our thoughts and give ourselves permission to feel the feelings without attaching the meaning to it. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's true. Like, that is my mantra to my clients. Just because you're feeling this and thinking it doesn't make it fact. And actually, it's okay to open that can of worms, and it's okay to open Pandora's box. And that's the biggest objection I get with clients. They're like, I'm just not ready. And I'm like, that's fine. Like, we can't work together then. And because it's scary, it is a bit uncomfortable to uncover those types of emotions. But when you can go there and actually hold space for yourself and realize that, yeah, I can feel it moving through me. It's not going to be here forever. I don't have to stay here and suffer, because that is what it is. There's a really interesting, I think she's a researcher at Harvard University. I think her name's Jill Bolt, and she's done loads of research on emotional regulation. And she talks about the fact that it only takes 90 seconds for an emotion to pass through your body. 90 seconds. Like, that's good news, right? But it doesn't feel like that because the majority of us are listening to our brain, which is firing all these thoughts, and it's like pouring petrol on a fire. Then the emotion just goes and takes over everything.
That's absolutely insane. And I'm just thinking about, like, I've obviously been through quite an emotional period this year. And, like, this probably won't come as any great shock to you, Gemma, but I am very traditionally a just pull your fucking socks up, Emma. Come on, let's just get on with things. We've got shit to do. We've got a house to run. We've got a business to run. We've got clients to see. We've got, like, and most women are exactly the same.
Yeah.
And that was something that I've been very conscious of this year is actually you have to feel the pain and you have to feel the emotion and the, like, there's times where like I'll be sitting in the car and I'll just start crying. And I'm not a crier, but I have never cried as much in my entire life. But I'm very conscious to let it happen now versus no, don't let anybody see you cry, don't show weakness. Like, and it's not weakness. And I think like so many of us, especially in our 40s and our 50s, we come from a generation of women who did have to pull up your socks. Like, just go on with shit. Like, don't be a wimp. Don't be a fanny. Like, they were the first generation that were women that were working. Like, you know, they could go out to work. So you just had to get shit done. And that, I think, having this kind of generational realization, there's I know quite a lot of women that they eventually come to us and they let go. And you'll have the same with your clients of going, oh my God, I've never had the space to do this and feel like it's okay to do this. So yeah.
Yeah, we're just on that hamster wheel, especially I think as business owners and with kids, like there's a lot, right, to be doing. And so you are just like, there's no time for this. There's no time to be feeling and thinking like this. Get on with it. And I get it, but it's like what you resist will persist. And we know, right? Like long term, it's going to come out as, you know, heart attacks and in some cases for high levels of stress or burnout. I want my first ever client, I don't mind telling you this, she was like a hotshot lawyer, like really doing well in her career, but she was very young. But she was asked to be a partner in this like international law firm. And so she was doing really well in her career. But because she worked herself to the bone, because her dad basically told her she would never amount to anything and she was totally unworthy. And so she wanted to prove him wrong, blah, blah, blah. But she worked herself to the bone so much so that she ended up hospitalized and was told by the doctors, you won't see your 40th birthday unless you make a significant change. And she was very open with me. She was like, I'd have a bag of biscuits and a block of cheese for my lunch. And she said, I wouldn't drink water because that took too much time away from my desk because she had to punch in her hours by 6 minutes. Every 6 minutes had to be chargeable. And it's like, that's not normal. But we normalize it. We kind of, as women, we sort of normalize whatever context you're in and workplace you're in. And I'm like, we really got to decondition this normalization. It's not fun, first of all. It's not safe in your body. And that's what I think everybody's craving, is this sense of inner safety. I've really been tapping into that recently, because if you don't have that, well, of course you're going to be scared that someone's going to judge you. Of course you're going to be scared that you're going to fail. Like, all the fears come out. But yeah, the societal conditioning has got a lot to answer for.
It really does. And that, like, that inner safety, that is so powerful. And I did a lot of work on my own, like, values, like personal values, and it's been a long time since I've done any of that stuff. But one of the big things that came up for me was security and that feeling of things are going to be okay. When you throw hormones into the mix, like, the anxiety goes through the roof. That's one thing that I have never experienced before in my life, is this like anxiety. And so you got hormones, you're a business owner. So actually like, you've still got the, well, how am I going to pay myself next month? You know, all that kind of stuff. So when you add in all of that, a lot of us are just like internally like bubbling away, like, it's almost like the ducks, isn't it? Like, oh, look at us, we've all got our shit together.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, but what do we all do? We focus on what's available to us externally. We take action. We're totally obsessed with taking action, whether that's binge watching Netflix, opening a bottle of wine, calling a friend. We're constantly in action mode. And what I spend a lot of time with my clients doing is like literally, and I'm an action taker, like big time. Like, I really had to sit on my hands when I do this. I was like, don't do anything, just sit on your hands. And actually, just like, I have to put on a timer sometimes. I'm like, you need to just sit here for 5 minutes until you have properly checked in with your state. Because another thing I think is really interesting, especially for business owners, is if you know what kind of actions that you want to take, whether that's going to the gym and like lifting so many weights or doing so many reps or going on a podcast like this or whatever action it is, sometimes the actions that you need to, sometimes you do need to change the action to change the results, right? You need to change your diet, you need to change your gym regime, you need to change your action you take in your business, but sometimes you don't. And that was certainly the case for me. The actions weren't actually needing to be different, but the energy behind it was what really mattered. So if you're coming at stuff, if you're taking action from a place of desperateness or hustle energy or like panicky, anxious stress, like imagine you're a car and you're putting in and you need petrol, but you're putting in diesel, that car is not going to go. And it's the same thing, like that your emotion, your energy caused by your thoughts and your emotions, that's the fuel that you're putting into your actions. And people can feel that shit. I call it desperate guy at the bar energy. You know the guy you mean, and you're like,
It's been a long time since I've been approached by somebody.
oh, desperate. Like, no, stop it. Just be cool.
Oh dear. Oh God, I've got all that to look forward to. Like, oh. No, not there yet. Right. So talk to me a little bit more about that. So that's going to resonate with every single woman that is listening to this, about this whole, every action is I have to do this because so and so needs fed, or I have to do this because this report needs to go out. I have to. How easy or how hard is it to actually switch your energy? Because see,
Yeah,
so that me, I go, I don't know how to do that. Like, I think I know how to do it, but actually, how does one do it?
I love this question because like I'm a Virgo and I'm like a classic, like, but tell me how, like, talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old and I want step by step. Like I'm really a procedural thinker. I'm like, I need to know how. So your energy is made up of your thoughts and feelings. And literally, when you think something and you feel something, you are creating an electromagnetic signal. Like, this is very quantum physicky, but it is true. You can't see it, like you can't see radio waves, but you are creating an electromagnetic signal. And the best example I always use for this is, you know, if you've walked into a room and there's been two people fighting and you're like, whoa, could cut the tension of life. Like, you can feel that shit, right? You can feel that energy and that vibe. Versus if you've been to see like Taylor Swift at the weekend in Edinburgh or something, and you've just had the best time ever, and you're like on a bit of a high, like you're on a buzz for days afterwards. That's all energy. So the best tip I can give you is like check in with your state. So your state just being your thoughts and feelings. Like, how am I actually feeling right now? What am I thinking? How am I feeling? What am I thinking? How am I feeling? And it's energy first, then action. So like I did a little experiment on this about a year ago. I was like, I'm going to do a state check-in before I send an email, before I do a client call, before I pick up the kids, like within any transition in my day. I was like, I'm just going to make sure I'm in a clean state. And all you need to do is like, okay, what am I feeling? Oh yeah, feeling a little bit anxious because I know I need to, like, you know, do a reel for Instagram or post on social media about my business or something. And I can feel my heart racing and my hands are sweating and I'm thinking, oh my God, what are people going to think of me and who does she think she is? And da, 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 da. So you do your thought check-in. You don't take action in that state, okay? You just stop, sit on your hands. And then you need to decide, how would I like to feel when I show up on social media, when I go to the gym, whatever it is. Okay, well, I'd love to feel really confident, really empowered, really calm, really inspired, really motivated, whatever it is. Pick an emotion you want to feel. And then the next question is, what do you need to think to feel that emotion? And then you go shopping for thoughts. So pick your favorite. What's your favorite clothing shop, Emma? If you were to go on a shopping spree, where would you go?
Maybe mint velvet just now.
Yeah. So imagine walking into Mint Velvet and you've got your jeans, your trousers, your tops, your jumpers, your jackets, everything. And you're like, oh yeah, that looks nice. Pop it in my basket. Oh yeah, I'll try on those. And you take it to the fitting room, right? And you try on your dress and you're like, oh my God, I'm looking amazing. This dress feels amazing. Yes, I'm buying that. Or you might try on it, in my case, try on a pair of jeans. You're like, oh my God, no, my bum looks awful. Put the jeans back. You can tell, right? You can feel what feels good. And you do the exact same thing when you go thought shopping. You just brainstorm a bunch of thoughts that hopefully will help you feel motivated, inspired, confident. But you really try them on, like you're trying on your jacket or your dress. So you say it out loud, like, I've got one. Where's this one I've got? Oh yeah, this one is my one I'm doing right now. I'm doing enough, I'm doing it right, and it's working. Like, I love that. I love that. I'm doing enough, I'm doing it right, and it's working. And I've got it on my little post-it note. So when I try that on, I'm like, okay, like I'm trying on a jacket. I'm like, I'm doing enough, I'm doing it right, and it's working. You say it out loud a few times, try it on. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. And then you go and then you feel that energy shift, and then you take your action. And then you also tell your brain, let's find some evidence to back up this thought. If you really want to embody that as a belief, you have to be quite proactive about this, and your brain is going to resist because it's a lazy arse and it doesn't want to use energy, and it's going to require energy for you to actually go and hunt for evidence to back up that you are doing enough and you are doing it right and it's working. Even if it's like, oh yeah, somebody just liked my post. Oh my God, somebody just like bought my ebook or whatever it is. Evidence, evidence. See, brain, I told you so. I'm doing enough, I'm doing it right, and it's working.
Oh my God, that's really weird. So I think the episode's out already, maybe not. I did a podcast interview with a money manifesting lady.
Oh, cool.
And I was just like asked her the how, and she's like, the easiest place to start is like, you know, think of a yellow car, think of a yellow car, think of a yellow car, and you'll see a yellow car. And I was like, and then like practicing things like what Denise Duffield Thompson is about, you know, you're in the car park, you'll find your perfect car, and you're like, I am so lucky. And like actually it is really hard work to try and remember how to do these things.
Yeah.
Um
And it's a habit, right? And I know you'll resonate with this, like when you're trying to like lose weight or you're trying to eat better or whatever it is forming habits can feel clunky and a bit hard at first because you're learning something. But the more, and I think like what she's saying is so true, is wherever you place your attention, and gratitude, oh my goodness, such a great emotion to really shift your state and to alert your body and your brain that, and I've got a really good tip for this actually, because your brain is going to want to search evidence to back up your thoughts. That's just what it does. But if you have a photo, most people have a photo on their phone of their like family, right? Or their pets or something that makes them feel super grateful for. So you look at your phone and you drum up that feeling of gratitude. Like, and I genuinely am saying that I'm so grateful. I've got 3 incredible, healthy children and a loving husband and a roof over my head and a business that I love. Like, I can really, that takes me like no time at all to be like, holy shit, I'm so grateful for this. And then you go to your belief that you're trying to embody with this embodied emotion of gratitude of I'm doing enough, I'm doing it right, and it's working. And when you have the emotion, it's like that's the magic key to really alert your brain. This is super important, brain, because this emotion I'm feeling, and that's what embodies beliefs quicker. So the emotion piece is the crucial piece. Positive affirmations on like parroting off words is useless. It's a waste of your time. You've got to be in your body, ladies. You've got to feel the emotions.
oh, I love it, absolutely love it. I've actually got one here that says, I am ready, they are ready.
Yes, I love that one. Yeah.
It's quite interesting how we've got a wee
Yeah.
scrappy wee post-it note stuck here. Right, one of the big things, right, that's all very good, amazing, thanks, we can all do it.
Okay.
But we can't do it because we'll do that once or we'll do that twice.
Yeah.
And then something will happen and we'll fuck it up and we'll forget to do it. And then we'll go, oh, I fucked up, I'm such a failure. Or it's the same as eating, like, oh yeah, I've eaten clean for 3 days in a row. Oh, fuck, I've just had a packet of Golden Wonder. Oh, well, that doesn't work. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Do it, right? And this element of sabotage is so common, right?
Yeah.
So common.
Yeah.
So I know that this is a big thing in your world and a big thing that you work with. So let's talk about sabotaging behaviors, sabotaging thoughts, and then we'll see where it leads us.
Cool. Yeah. So the 3 main types of sabotage I see: perfectionism, procrastination, overperforming. That's the 3 main types of sabotage that I see with my clients. So I like to work backwards, right? So I'm like, okay, tell me your end result. Now, most of my leads are like, I'm so bloody exhausted, I'm dejected, I'm defeated. Okay, right. So what are the behaviors that come before that? And they're like, well, I'm over analyzing, I'm trying to figure out the how. It could be taking naps, it could be cleaning the house. There's all these different escape behaviors, which is your sabotage, right? So what do you do to escape feeling the shit feeling that you don't want to feel, right? That's all. There's a whole list of escape behaviors: ruminating, worrying, people pleasing, whole big list of them. And then it's like, okay, what were you feeling before you engaged in all these escape behaviors? Confusion, overwhelm, anxiety, stress, frustration. And it's like, okay, most people treat those emotions, those are just symptoms of like what the actual problem is. So it's their escape behaviors. So what are you escaping from? What do you get to avoid by feeling overwhelmed right now? What do you get to avoid by feeling irritable, anger, confusion? What do you get to avoid? What's behind those emotions? And Emma, it is always, always, always a sense of powerlessness. I don't feel in control. I don't feel in control of what they're going to do, what he's thinking, what she's thinking. I don't feel in control of my business in terms of the results I'm going to get. So it's the sense of I'm out of control, powerlessness, or like this, I don't know. I just don't know. It also shows up as a desire. For me, it was a desire. I have this desire, but it just feels so unachievable because my core belief was there's haves and have-nots, and I'm a have-not, and it'll always be that way. And so I'm doomed.
Wow.
It's crazy. But there's always this sense of powerlessness. And that's got such, it's like a slippery fish. Like nobody can really connect with that feeling because they're so good at escaping it. They're so good at, because it feels so uncomfortable to feel out of control, because there's this association with sadness, loss, grief, and alone. And so that is not a barrel of laughs, right? Those types of feelings. So we're all just like, no, no, thanks. I'll just do better over here. Your central nervous system kicks in, does its job beautifully, and puts you into anxiety, overwhelm, confusion, because it activates you to then do something. So that's the job of like, okay, what is holding this relationship between the sense of out of control or powerlessness and sadness, alone, grief, and loss? That's where you can uncover your limiting beliefs and all the reference experiences, all the memories, all the crap that you've had in your life that are going to back it up. And once you can see it mapped out, you can step back from it and be like, huh, yeah, it makes sense now that when I was bullied at high school, there's no way I'm going to feel okay shining my light and being visible on social media because it's not safe. Or there's no way I'm going to ever like believe fully that I'm going to find high ticket paying clients because I'm a have not and I'll never get what I want and I'm doomed. They're the ones who get what they want because I went to, a state school. And when I went to university, especially Edinburgh University, it was full of very rich English people, which totally took me by surprise. And I felt completely out of place. Like I never went to a private school. I went to like a random high school in Aberdeenshire. So it was just like, and there was a lot of that kind of like, and what school did you go to when you're trying to get into the netball team or the hockey team? And I was like, Alfred Academy. They're like, yeah, we don't know that school, so no, you're not in the team. And it's just like insane. But again, in my brain, it was like, see, you're a have not. Yeah. They're the haves. So fascinating. But until you've uncovered all of this stuff that's holding you in your self-sabotage, you will keep looping. You will keep self-sabotaging, regardless if that's weight loss, relationships, business, doesn't matter.
Wow. It's so interesting how everything is so connected. So connected.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. Yeah. It's such an interesting topic. Do you have any, like, I want you to share where people can find out more about this stuff, because we could actually spend the next 4 hours doing podcast stuff.
I know.
I have client calls this afternoon, and you probably
can tell I'm a bit of a geek about this stuff. So I mainly hang out on Facebook. So Gemma Gilmour, like if you look under Gemma Gilmour, I'll pop up on Facebook. And I do actually share a lot of content there. So that's a good place to have a look. I'm on Instagram as well. Again, I think it's Gemma Gilmour Coaching on Instagram. And I've got a website, gemmagilmour.com. But yeah, I'll share with you like a link. I've got like a kind of landing page with my links to everything. And if you want to dip your toes into some freebies, there's some freebies. There's a really cool one called Your Perfect Day. And it's a really nice one just to sit on your doorstep with a cup of coffee in the sun in the morning and just really give yourself permission to think about what the hell would you like to do with your life? When do we ever do that?
We never give ourselves permission to do that, do we? Because it's like, well, it doesn't matter what I want, it's never going to happen anyway. Yeah, I love that future.
So, and then I've got a little special summer offer that I'm doing, which is a deep dive into this self-sabotage. I call them like the escape loop. So normally it's £300, but it's £150
Oh, wow.
just over summer. And it's a 2 hour, it's a pretty deep dive, I'm not gonna lie. It's a pretty hardcore call. It's not for the faint-hearted, but by the end of it, not only will you have absolute clarity on your self-sabotage loop and why it's being held in place and why you're behaving and feeling and thinking the way you are, but the beautiful thing about that call is at the end of it, we actually do some change work and you really can reconnect with, I call it like your essence, which sounds a bit airy fairy, but it's like beyond your
Sounds a
past.
bit Aaron aromatics. You're gonna have to change that.
Yeah, maybe it's
Bit
like your
Aaron aromatics.
true self. No,
Over
core,
you.
core
Oh my
self.
God, this is us going to get into the detail of naming things again. Like, this is all we talk about.
I know. What is that bit called? It's the bit, the real you, right? It's the
Your
real
core,
you,
your core.
your core you. So beyond everybody's expectations of you and your past and societal conditioning, beyond all the crap, Emma, the core you, that's what we connect you back with. So it's a really lovely way to finish the session. So yeah, absolute bargain for what it is.
The bargain. Core. We need to play
We
about
need to think about it. Yeah.
Essence isn't doing it.
Essence, no.
Although,
Okay.
speak to the audience, right? So if
I mean, no audience, yeah.
you need to, if you book a call, use the code piss off, right? So A, she'll be like, who are you? Don't tell me to piss off. But B, then you can track, you can get them to tell you whether essence, core, what type of language works best.
What works? That your I am. Some people call it your I am. I don't like that.
No.
No.
No. Anyway, right.
You know what I mean.
We know what you mean. But we need to get all that trademarked.
Yeah.
Right, that was amazing. And honestly, what Gemma does is absolutely life-changing, like life-changing. So
Really is.
I would recommend that you follow her, first of all, you connect with her, second of all, and just buy her shit.
Just buy my shit. Just connect. Like I love geeking out on all this stuff and I love meeting new people. So yeah.
Yeah.
Reach out.
Yeah. The brain is the most powerful muscle you have in your body. And people come to me because they want to have a toned and defined body, right? And in order to get toned and defined body, you're going to need to do the reps. You're going to need to do the butt cheek workouts. You're going to need to do the Bulgarian split squat. Actually, no, you're never going to have to do them. They're evil. You're going to have to do the bicep curls. You're going to have to do the things, right? You're going to have to do the squats. The brain works the same way. If you want to be stronger mentally, if you want to have a more resilient, inverted commas, mindset, if you want to overcome self-sabotage, you have to work on the brain and treat it like a muscle. And that means doing the stuff consistently. And when you don't do it consistently and you stop, and then you just go, oh, fuck it, it's not working, that is the sheer definition of self-sabotage. So it's exactly the same. Exactly the same as whether your diet is fucked, your workouts are fucked, whatever, you don't do your laundry because you can't be that, but like it's all the same. But treat your brain like you would treat any other muscle in your body. If you want it to get better, you're going to have to do the reps.
And get a coach to help you with that. Accountability and implementation. This is why everybody needs a coach. I genuinely think, do you not think, Emma, that if every single person had a coach, the NHS would be like so much better off, wouldn't it?
Aye. I've actually had conversations with GPs locally who have had clients of mine go and see them, and they've been like, oh, you've got a little weight, your health markers are all improved and whatnot, and they would tell them about it, and they're like, that even they are saying, you know, from a health point of view, that type of proactive involvement and getting healthier and better could save gazillions.
Yeah.
Mental health, physical health, all the health.
All the health, yeah, and get a coach, because honestly, like I have a coach. I mean, I'm sure you have a coach. We all need coaches in our lives for that, to help us see our invisible blind spots. That's what it's all about, right? Because we're not aware. You don't know what you don't know.
There's nothing better. Like, I think one of the big misconceptions a lot of people have, I know that people have this misconception of me, is that it's a boot camp and I'm going to shout at you and scream at you and be disappointed when you don't do the thing. And it's actually nothing like that at all. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, right, oh, that's very helpful. You've helped me see X, Y, and Z. And but having a coach is probably one of the most powerful things that you can do in any area of your life, whether it's business, whether it's career, whether it's relationships, whether it's health, whatever it is. And having somebody there And I'll say like, yeah, sometimes I will challenge you. Sometimes I will challenge your thinking and I will ask you hard questions, but sometimes I'm just there to give you a cuddle and hold your hand and, be the shoulder that you need to lean on and able to do the actions, because making changes at all when you're 45, 55, when you've been doing the same shit for 35, 45, 55 years, it's hard.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And sometimes somebody will need to call you out in your bullshit.
Agree. Totally agree.
Totally agree. Right, better go. Thanks. That was wonderful.
Lunchtime.
Right, I'll speak to you soon, girl. Bye. 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 Bye.
Bye.
And just like that, we have spiced up another episode of Piss Off Perimenopause and the Musings of a Bullshit Queenager. Massive shout out and a huge thank you for hanging out with me today. I really hope you've been entertained. And remember, don't be shy, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, keep those heels high and standards higher. Remember, it's all about glowing, growing, and downright owning it. So catch you on the flip side, and don't forget to click the link in the show notes to get your freebie.